Go.
Here we go.
Good deal.
Sorry
All
about
right.
that, guys. We are back with
Live
Chris
again.
Money
Howdy.
Mihalik. Sorry about that. Internet, little sketchy here at the Clean Show, but
Hi,
we're going
guys.
to make it work. How's it going? Hey, guys, come by the booth, Prime Capital booth 2856. Come by and see us. Take a picture. We're live. We don't care. We're just having
we're
fun.
just having fun.
And at 3 o'clock, we're giving away 100 of these books. Compliments of this man, Chris Money Mihalik.
We love
So,
it.
Chris,
Yes,
how
sir.
many clean shows have you been to?
I've been to, I believe, 4. This is my
Four.
fourth.
Yep, fourth clean show.
Absolutely right.
Now, the first two, correct me if I'm wrong, first two, Prime Capital didn't have a booth.
That's correct.
And 19, you had your first booth,
That's correct.
and it did pretty well.
It did
right?
great.
Yeah.
Actually,
So-
no, this is our third booth. We had one in New Orleans.
17.
We had one
Okay.
in Vegas, and
Gotcha.
we had one here.
Gotcha.
And I will say, I don't know. I love this show, really.
It's
I mean,
everything.
all the shows are great. I don't know.
Do you feel like the energy this year is different?
It completely
Because we
is.
do.
So I'll tell you my take, and I've explained this, and I'll give you a longer answer on this thing. My take is that we haven't had one of these shows in years, obviously, since pre-COVID. And in the absence of having a trade show like this, with all of our peers and all the folks we learned from, everybody went online.
Yeah.
Okay? The Laundromat Millionaire didn't even exist a couple of years ago.
True.
People are going on. The whole social thing has taken off.
Yep.
Self-education, and we're seeing that now. And we're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of people. Actually, one of our potential customers, somebody that actually went to your conference, okay, came up to me earlier today, said he's launching a YouTube channel. Okay.
Nice.
I
know who
talk
that is.
about tech, right? Talk about tech.
Yep.
But that's the mindset. That's the energy. That's the excitement that we're seeing now, right?
Yeah.
That is literally why me and Carla do what we do. I know for a fact that's why you support people like me and Carla doing what we do, is because the truth of the matter is, and this isn't a secret, the truth of the matter is, I was empowered to do this because Jordan went first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jordan launched Laundromat Resource. I was his first guest on there. We had a lot of good feedback for him and us both. They loved the story, and I was like, you know what? This is a new way for us to connect as an industry.
They're totally
And,
different.
and I believe that us connecting as an industry is good for the industry. Now, it's bad for some of the bozos because they don't want to share information.
Yep.
They don't want us connecting. But we're not worried about them. They're the past.
That's correct.
We're here to talk about the future
That's
and the
correct.
present. So tell me this: you've had 4 booths. We think we're not sure 4 booths, okay? But the
3.
fact of the matter is 3 booths. But you've been in the industry for 20 years,
It's been about 17.
17 years,
Yes, sir.
17 years. And let me tell you what I believe about Chris Mihalik, and this is just Dave Menz's opinion. I believe that he is. In fact, let me back up. I know that he is one of our industry's most treasured resources. I absolutely
Thank you.
believe that. And I also believe that while you are certainly more well known than you were in the past,
Absolutely.
every year you're getting more and more well known. The fact of the matter is, I still believe that you are a hidden treasure in
Thank
this
you, Dave.
industry.
Thank
And
you.
so, guys, part of the reason that we're doing this is to support Chris because, newsflash, we've probably done, and I didn't track them, probably done 10 loans together, right?
Yep.
Some
Quite
small,
a bit.
where
Yep.
we were in a bind, and I was like, Chris, I just need 15 grand for a water heater, dude, because I don't have hot water and I don't have 15 grand.
This was early on. Definitely pre Laundromat Millionaire.
Definitely,
Because
for sure.
And
Chris,
this is it.
Chris worked loans out for us when no one else would.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
But let me tell you, that's part of our story of everybody always says when we talk about successes and how we do things and our new store and all this, oh, that's easy for you to say. You're a
Yep.
laundromat millionaire.
Yep.
What they don't
I've heard
understand is behind the story is how we became laundromat millionaires.
Yep.
And it's working with people like Prime Capital. It's working with equipment distributors like HM Company
Absolutely
and Steve
right.
Millman.
Yep.
That is the message we have. We are not here to brag about what we've accomplished. We're here to show you how we've accomplished it. And
So
not
you
that you're
can
going to
too.
travel the same path. We're all going to travel similar paths. But what I believe, the 2 keys to our success, probably more than 2. 2 big ones. Building an external team is what I call it. And that is the Steve Millmans, the Chris Mahaliks of the world, Prime Capital, our accountants, plumbers, building an external team of people that are not W-2 employees. But make no mistake, they are a part of our team and an integral part of our team.
Absolutely.
So then there's the internal team. And as you start to acquire stores, we went from unattended to attended, and from unattended to partially attended, and to fully attended. And then we started building layers of management. That is our internal team. Those are W-2 employees. And the only other thing you need other than those 2 things is your facilities. But the beauty is when you build your external team, They will help you and teach you and guide you and mentor you on how to build the facilities. And as you build the facilities, you will learn how to build an organization. And that is how you become a laundromat millionaire.
Yep.
We are not here to talk about us. We are here to talk about you. And that is what the Laundromat Millionaire brand is. And the fact of the matter is, you need rock star organizations. I call them service providers. I kind of put you all in like this category. And you need them on your team, even if you think you don't. I won't say this too many times because I'm not a big believer in absolutes. I'm always like the it depends guy, right? But the fact of the matter is, I am 100% certain that you need people like Chris Mihalik in your team. Now, maybe you have unlimited amounts of liquid cash and you don't like leverage and you don't need to borrow money. Let me tell you something. People like Chris Mihalik still going to bring you a lot of value if you will build a relationship, if you will go to the Laundromat Millionaire Conference and spend time with Chris. I know for a fact you were giving everybody at the conference value, advice, guidance, mentorship with no expectation of them ever making a loan with you. That's a fact.
No, that's the way it has to be. You know, in our approach, it's actually funny. I have a side story going along those lines that Dave and I have. Okay, I don't even know that I think I talked to you about this maybe a year ago. Okay, let's hear it. So being part of the team, right, and just being a team player and being completely honest about all of the things that happen. Okay, Steve and I had walked into one of Dave's stores after he had acquired it. About
Steve Millman, our distributor.
Okay, and we walked in.
The true story behind this book, by the way.
Absolutely right, right. And I happened to be out in Cincy there, you know. So we visited Dave's store, 6 months old at that point. Okay, it had been retooled, and Steve and I looked, and we said, and we're very honest. Yep. That's one of the other things too. We don't shy away. We are honest about things. We will tell people what we think, and people can disagree.
Yep.
If they don't agree, that's fine, right? Just for example, if somebody's acquiring a store, and I think they're going to overpay if they pay. You know what? You can disagree with me. I'm going to give you my opinion. And I think that's why we get along really well.
Absolutely.
So Steve and I told Dave, we said, look, you got to increase the vend on this thing. You are not getting anywhere close to the amount of vend. Do you know this? I don't even know if you know this.
I don't think I know this.
And Steve, we walked, Dave's like, you know, I'm working on that. I'm working on that. He was, really getting going on the whole pickup and delivery, wash, dry, full business processing and all that. And he had a plan, right? But, sometimes I'm stuck in the whole vend world. I'm like, and again, this is years ago, right? So I'm thinking vend. Dave's thinking, what's the next thing, right?
He's always thinking, what's the next
absolutely.
thing?
3 to 5 years out.
So I'm sitting here thinking to myself with Steve, we get in the parking lot, after we said, Dad's like, yeah, I'll increase the vend. We get in the parking lot, and I hope Steve watches this because this is hilarious because he and I looked at each other. We're like, we get in the car, we're like, he's got to increase the vend. What was he? He keeps focusing on this whole processing overnight. Like, what are we going to do to try to get him to increase the vend? Because really, to Dave's point, we are more of a financial consultant for folks looking to get into the industry and folks that are already in. So again, our opinion may not be good. You may think that, but that's fine. But we're going to give our opinion, right? So anyway, I'll never forget. Look what happened. Okay, the vend ended up increasing, but the reality is, he wanted to really focus on the wash, dry, fold, and the pickup and delivery, and look what happened.
And that has accelerated our business.
Oh, absolutely. It's just crazy. It's just nuts because, again, this is years back, way pre-COVID. Okay, pre-COVID. But
this is probably, 2015.
Yeah, that's right. It was probably 7 years ago or so, Dave, right?
Yeah. So we started pickup and delivery 2016.
The truth is, when you build an external team, they will give you their insight and their advice as if they are a member of your team, because they are.
Absolutely right.
Now, they don't have to have equity, but we're business partners.
We are.
Right? Make no mistake about it. When I need money, I call Chris. That's how this works.
And he's an invested partner. I mean, that's the great thing is it's a win-win.
What is it? What
he wants us, he cares about us doing better because he'll do better.
Yeah, you always say, if you don't pay your loan,
then I'm in trouble.
I don't get paid.
No, that's exactly right? And then, that's a true statement. So, and here's the other thing too. Dave has way other options and has used other options outside of us, right? I'm one option to both Dave and Carla. That's okay, right? I mean, it's just he has to do what's best for his business. I'm one option. I understand that. And again, that's why we get along too. Like it all just works.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. So walk people through your approach because this is one of the your heart is a big part of it.
Sure.
Your mind, your steel trap for sure. You know your industry very well. But the fact of the matter is how you approach what we call consultative financing.
Absolutely.
And you get a mentor you get somebody that is as interested in you winning after the deal closes as before.
Okay. Well, I know this is coming because I've already been approached from other individuals that ask me a lot more about this. So folks are going to see this approach a lot more moving forward. And this kind of came about from COVID ultimately. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Good
We're
to see
live
you.
right now. Sorry.
Good. You're good. Don't worry
You're
about
live
it.
too.
That's the way it happens, right? That's the way it happens. So
You're fine.
totally fine. Totally fine.
You're fine. You're fine.
So no, the whole approach really it gets to the point of, you know, when somebody wants to get into the business and say it's a retool of a store, say it's somebody that's doing an acquisition, whatever it might be, hook you up with a traditional equipment distributor. Equipment distributor works with you to try to figure something out.
Yep.
How much equipment you need. You get a pro forma from the distributor. You get the demographics from the distributor. Hey, this could work. We think that it'll do 3, 4, 5 turns a day. Okay? Yeah. Our approach complements that. Okay. What we try to do is dive into that figure a little bit more and calculate on locations, on max spend. Okay. And say, hey, if you do this, it may not be a good idea because the demos may check. There may be certain aspects from a financial standpoint that look good. There may not be certain aspects that look good. We try to blend together and educate the customers more about the financial long-term path of getting into the business or expanding upon the business. And let me tell you exactly what I'm talking about. We want to avoid you overpaying for your first location. And believe me, all of the manufacturers and distributors in here too, they don't really want to have you overpay,
Of course.
but they're also sometimes missing the financial aspect of things. Like if you acquire this today, what happens 6 months from now if you may need to retool? Okay. On the front end, I'm thinking you're getting into this location, but I'm also thinking what's the path for the next 10 years?
Yep.
Okay. So
Let me clarify for a
Sure,
second if I'm
please.
understanding. So you're saying you not only help someone finance their laundromat, but you help them relook at their evaluation of the store, of the market, their demographics, and their long-term potential. So kind of help them reassess that pro forma.
correct.
Okay.
Absolutely
There's
right.
17 years experience in the industry of picking apart deals. And I mean that in a very good way, by
Yes,
the way.
absolutely.
Picking apart deals, finding the weak spots, pointing them out to you, helping you to exploit them. And I mean that in a positive way as well. Like if you're getting ready to overpay for the store, we got a problem here. We need to get that. We need to go back to the table, renegotiate, because you're not going to do this because I'm not going to let you do this as your partner.
I have a perfect example of this. I had a potential customer come up to me earlier, and he's going to know exactly who this is when he sees this. And he came up and he thanked me because one other person tried to steer him into buying this particular location. And I gave him a number and I said, look, you cannot pay over this.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he came up to me and said, I was ready to pull the trigger.
Yep.
And I realized I didn't like what you said initially, but when I actually took a step back and said, hey, if I do this, I'm never going to be able to get my second store
Yeah.
if I do this.
That will put you behind the eight ball for 5
Absolutely.
years
And
minimum.
that's what we are all about,
Yep.
trying to help educate everybody. And believe me, the manufacturers, the distributors, they don't want to get you into a poor investment
Mhm.
because if they do, you're one and done, and then you're going to be selling again. So it's all about education.
But the flip side is that, and I don't want to put words in their mouths, but collectively as an industry, it's very tough for them to take the time to invest the time that you do.
I will tell you
That's what makes you special. And I'm
Correct.
not saying they don't care.
Yep.
I'm not saying that they don't value that part of the equation. It's that they are overwhelmed. They are too busy.
Correct.
But you have decided to build a business model around mentorship.
Absolutely.
I mean, you are a financing guy. You write loans. There are interest rates, all the things that are stereotypical, but you have taken a very consultative approach
Absolutely.
from a guy that knows how to pick apart a deal.
Yep.
There's an insane a lot of value in that. So are you just looking for money or are you looking for a partner?
That's the thing, and that's what it truly is. So I advertise. I say this we're kind of like wealth planners ultimately for entrepreneurs that are looking to get into this business, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it's about: generating long-term wealth. What does this look like 6 months from now, a year from now, 2 years from now? As you expand, make reasonable assumptions. Should you retool right off the bat? Should you not retool off the bat? And again, I'm taking a financial approach to that.
Yes.
Looking at the debt service payments, not only for the acquisition, but as the retool, the new equipment. Can you afford this? How long will you be negative cash flow? Do you realize if you retool tomorrow, you're making an assumption you're going to take a store over and it's just going to be status quo. If it remains status quo and
Yep.
you want to retool 6 months from now, you will be losing money,
Yep.
right? And there's those things that we're helping customers. Now we're not 100%, right? We just give our opinion and try to just, guide you along.
So
But
what
that opinion has a lot of experience behind it.
That's right. That's what I feel,
what made you approach your job, your company in this industry in this way?
I'll tell you what, I think post-COVID, things changed. Okay. I was doing this when I was at physical locations pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Big time. I mean, I was traveling all over the place. I spent a ton of time in Florida. It was outstanding. So anyway, that changed. So we had to do this remotely. And I started looking at transactions and picking them apart. And as opposed to being a typical individual that gets a full financial package in, I was always
You got to pull it.
well, no, I was always on site, and I'm there, talking to the sellers, talking to the brokers on transactions with distributor
This is
sales reps.
100% fact. You may not
Did this
believe
with Dave.
this. We have done this with Chris personally multiple times.
Absolutely right. So we have to look at this, and usually I'm doing that, when I'm there, on site.
Yep.
COVID changed that. So now you're doing it remotely, and what you realize is you have to find a way to do the same thing and
Without
be
being
that
there.
Iser without being there. So
So what were
that's
the
what
challenges?
this is. Oh,
What were the
it's
challenges?
super challenging, right? So you're on site, you see things,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I'm looking up at swamp coolers. I'm looking, when, especially like in a state like Florida, for example. When's the last time the roof was taken care of here? Are you responsible? Let's take a look at your lease. Are you responsible for this? Well, maybe I am, right? So I'm on site pointing things out.
Yeah.
And how did I overcome it? Just started devising lists of questions in my own mind. Like, as I'm looking through this, I'm trying to get people to think in a financial aspect way, in planning type of a way remotely. And it just kind of came about, it just kind of came about talking to more people, getting online, being on podcasts,
Mhm.
being on webinars,
Yep.
trying to educate folks so they are making what we believe are more educated decisions on their future, as opposed to maybe possibly making a mistake.
So do you have them send you a lot of pictures though?
You know
can't
what?
Go there.
So a lot of times,
Google
yes,
Earth.
yes, that's absolutely. Well, that's the big thing too.
Yep.
That's another thing too. Look at how much Google Earth has actually changed
Yep.
over the last 3-4 years pre-COVID. I mean, it really is. I mean, the maps. Okay, Google Maps used to be updated on in areas like every 3-4 years. Now they're being
Yep.
updated every couple of months.
Yep.
Right. So we can get a lot of that information. I mean, I do. I'm on Maps. Team's on Maps too. We're going up and down streets, looking at things. Absolutely, we see the aerial views.
Yes.
You can see a roof sometimes, right?
Yes.
Not that I'm looking at the roof all the time. I'm just using that as an example. But I'm
Yep.
looking at the surrounding area, right? What possibly could go in around the corner? What new building to take you out? Possibly. Think about your competition. Think about somebody else that could enter the area. It's a fractionalized industry, right? So somebody can just build a laundromat right down the street.
Oh, definitely.
But that certainly helps. And pictures, yes, but a lot of Google Maps. A lot of Google
Your website is getprimecap.com. Is that right?
GoPrimeCap.com.
Go.
Or
Rich-
PrimeCapitalFunding.com.
Rich got Richard is asking. Go. Tell me again.
GoPrimeCap.com
Primecap.
or PrimeCapitalFunding.com.
Oh, I already started typing this.
Sounds good.
Too late. GoPrimecap.com. All right, I'm
You
going to
got
put
it.
it down there in the comments,
Perfect.
guys.
But obviously, what you can see is Chris Money is more about the relationship, about helping people and helping elevate this industry, which
He
is.
is.
What we're all about as well.
Absolutely.
So,
Well,
Absolutely
and,
right.
and just so you guys know, Chris was one of our top sponsors for the Laundromat Millionaire Conference, despite not being one of the biggest organizations
yes.
in
Absolutely.
the industry.
We're lean and mean.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
For the and Chris not only did that, but he went down to Fort Lauderdale from Chicago and volunteered his time to be a keynote speaker at the event.
Yep.
He spent his own dime, put his own
Correct.
people up in the hotel at the W, super cheap rooms, $50 a night, something like that. Now, they
Beautiful
were
hotel, by the way.
beautiful
It was
hotel.
Beautiful. It was-
Absolutely.
oh my gosh, the conference was awesome. I'll let you continue.
And he spent 2 days mentoring and coaching people, pouring into people. That's what the future of this industry is. That's what we're doing. How you doing? Not much. We're live right now. Sorry.
Gonna be live with
Look
us.
at it. No, it's
We're
fine.
good. We're totally good.
Grab you some free stuff on the table there. There's stress
Absolutely.
balls. Good deal. But so yeah,
Well,
Just
we're
share.
not, we're not here. We're not here to promote the Laundromat Millionaire Conference by
Right.
any means.
Right.
No doubt about it. But it was an unbelievable event. The collaboration. Okay. And
that's what
again,
I was getting at. Thank
that's
you.
what we're bringing here. That's what
Yep.
Prime Capital's bringing. That's why Dave is here.
Yep.
You know, there's folks out here right now. After this, we're going to be talking to people, and I hope they bring things to our attention and say,
Yep.
"Look, I'm looking at this store. What do you think? I'm looking at this. What do you think? Right? Can I send you a P&L? Can I send you a cash flow statement? Would you be willing to look at this? Yes.
Well, and what I was getting at, Chris, and I got distracted. Sorry.
Yep. Nope, that's
What I was
okay.
getting at was, I love that you are pouring into the industry like we feel we're pouring into the industry in a different way, and there are other people doing it. And what's happening is we're all rallying around the collective industry as a unit,
Absolutely.
right? We are, instead of being isolated, which is kind of how things have been in the past years ago, we're starting to rally together. We're starting to network more. We're starting to build relationships across industries. I meet somebody, make a great connection. I introduce you to them. You solve a problem for them. I step out. I don't need anything from it.
Yep.
I'm just trying to give back to the industry. I don't understand why the industry in the past, and it's the past, so it doesn't matter, has been so transactional.
Yep.
Because I know it's cheesy, I know it's cliche, but we're all in this together. And what we are about, and who we partner with, like Prime Capital, what they are about is elevating the industry, is our tagline we use. But really what it's about is creating community. And instead of us being adversaries, and we talked about this. So one of your quote unquote competitors,
Sure.
right, is
Yeah.
Eastern Funding.
Sure.
Everybody knows Eastern Funding. It's
Absolutely.
not a secret, right?
Great
They're good
organization.
friends of yours,
Absolutely.
right? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So Brian Grell, one of the founders of Eastern Funding, is at the Laundromat Millionaire Conference. You do your keynote speech. He's a legend in this industry.
He is.
Very well respected.
Yeah.
And before you could get off the stage, you did such a great job that Brian jumps up on freaking
It
stage
was pretty
and
neat.
is like, holy
It
crap,
was cool.
how about this dude? And he is promoting him for like 15 minutes.
It was great.
And of course, because Dave just
And I
cries, that's what I
appreciated
do. I'm like, this is what this industry is all about. This is where we are going. It's happening right now.
There are no borders. I mean, it really was a cool,
It was
cool
a cool
moment,
moment.
right?
Was.
And in the end, we're all just trying to help everybody out. All of us, right?
If all of us
That's it.
work together, it all trickles down and focuses down on our communities
Yep.
that we impact. Now we all make money. We all make sure we do it the right way. I always say, I want you to get rich, but I don't want you to get rich off me.
Yep.
I don't want you to get rich
That's
off
right.
one deal. I want
That's
you to get rich off this whole freaking industry.
That's right.
I want you to have a real one of these someday.
Man, that'd be a lot of money.
That would be a lot of money. That would be a lot of money. All right. So before we end the lives, we have about 20 more minutes here, Chris.
Yep. Yep.
I want to ask you about
Sure.
the future of our industry. And if I can, because I know that you're going to bring value to everybody that watches this live, but also to everybody that's going to watch this in the future. It'll also be a recording, right?
Yep.
On all of our channels.
Yep.
So as a finance guy, I'm a little bit relative to your talk that you did down at Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
Tell us about where we are as an economy, without going too nerdy, that's going to help us make decisions as business owners and how we should be strategically planning. What is happening? Because we are in crazy town right now. 9.1% inflation, which is actually like double that. Not really 9.1. Don't get me going. Spew the knowledge, man.
I won't go into my, opinions
what-
on some of these
Share
things,
whatever you
okay?
want to share.
Well, no,
But I know you have a
obviously-
lot of thoughts.
It's just there's too much cash that's in the economy right now. Okay, there's so much money that's still out there, free money that existed. You're going to see rising rates. You're going to see rising inflation here for the foreseeable future. Now, we've been approached because people that are in variable rate loans, they want to refinance. And what is not listed on the back here? Okay, see, and I'm trying to do this here. Okay, right
Mhm.
behind us here, there's
There
no
you go.
refinancing listed.
Yeah.
Right. It should be up. Okay,
Okay.
we need to get folks out of these variable rate loans. But
Is
where
there
are
a
we
lot
going?
of those out there?
There
'Cause
are
we
a
always try to go
lot
after
of variable
folks.
rate.
Yeah.
So yes, and that's something
Like business
too.
loans?
Business loans.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So that's one of the challenges right now that we actually anticipate. And I don't want to be like an economist here, but I think
Yeah.
you're going to see at least another 75 basis point increase, which is 0.75% increase to the Wall Street Journal prime rate here pretty soon. Okay. Now, when everybody hears rising interest rates, I'll give a little bit of an education on this. And you hear the Fed raised rates today. Okay.
Yes.
Now that's the rate that banks borrow between themselves. Okay, and money gets exchanged between themselves.
Okay.
But then there's what's called the Wall Street Journal prime rate. Okay. The banks themselves determine that rate. So you don't really know what that's going to be. All right. So everybody
Is it-
thinks the
is that-
federal government determines that rate. It's not the case,
Is
right?
that just all the banks like literally in cahoots with each other, like saying we all agree to do this?
And I'm not going to give my opinion,
I mean, that's what it
So-
sounds like.
but
So
when
when a loan has a variable rate, it would be like, oh, your rate is 3% plus prime.
that's
So
correct.
every time prime increases, then your rate's increasing, and you're basically your loan payment is dependent on what they want to call prime.
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right.
That's correct. So, we just sign as consumers, we just sign a document. Hey, it's going to be a variable rate. It follows Wall Street Journal Prime. You're like, okay. You don't think anything of it, right? And I'm not trying to scare people away from this, but really, from my standpoint, with the uncertainty in the economy right now, the government's not going to have any control on what that Wall Street Journal published prime rate is. Okay.
Okay.
The banks will.
Yeah.
So do you think the banks want to make more money or less money off of it? I don't want to sound the wrong way, but it's the truth, right? We're in a capital society, and that's what it's about. So that's the challenge right now, that if the banks say we need to raise the rates, they're just going to raise the rate. We don't know what that's going to be. Now, with the uncertainty going on, the inflation rate, that's the whole premise behind increasing the rates,
Yes.
okay, to try to drive some of that down. We'll see what happens to slow the economy down a little bit. But I don't know, foreseeable future, anything you're trying to do out there, fixing interest rates, trying to get a fixed rate as opposed to a variable rate, I always suggest that. Whether you're buying a vehicle, whether you're in a home type situation from a mortgage standpoint, whether you're getting a business loan, at least fixing it for a period of time. Because chances are, if you're taking our model in terms of going forward and getting a store, you're going to refinance probably in the first couple of years anyway. If
Do you
not,
stick to only fixed rate loans?
we try to fix them as
Okay.
best as we can. On
Okay.
retools only, absolutely.
Yeah.
On new acquisition, or new stores acquisitions, we at least want to fix for at least half the term of the loan. Okay.
Okay.
And that could be 10 years, it could be 5 years, 5 years fixed at least. But we want to do that because it's in our best interest to do that, because the customer is most likely going to pay on that. If the rate
Yes.
goes up, all of a sudden, if it goes up to 13%, and here's another thing on these loan documents, okay? What you're going to see in a variable rate scenario, it's going to say, hey, it follows Wall Street Journal prime rate, but there's no cap. And I'm, again, not trying to scare anybody, but it doesn't say capped out, at a certain percent. Who knows? I mean, to your point about the craziness going on out here right now, we just all need to protect ourselves and do what's best for us. And in that particular case, try to refinance your variable rate loans. Go back to the banks you have your loans with now and see if they'll do that, at least for a period of time. Lock it in for a period of time. It's in everybody's best interest.
So how should, as small business owners, this industry, lending, the economy, you're not an economist, but the economy, you understand what's happening and how the numbers work. So we're laundromat owners. If we had growth plans, how should those affect our decisions?
Well, I'll tell you what, right now, if you're worried about an interest rate, okay, like 100 basis point increase, like from 7 to 8%, for example, or 8 to 9 or 9 to 10.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're looking to get into this industry, or you're in right now, and you're going to base your business decisions based on the rates, then you're in the wrong investment. Okay. And I say that because if an interest rate is going to increase, by 400 basis points over the first couple of years that you're in business, and it's going to increase your payment that much, that means your return is way too skinny. So as business owners, as folks that are looking to get into the business, okay, it's in your best interest, and that's what we do. We need to make sure you don't overpay. We need to make sure your debt servicing is not going to be too high. We're looking to make sure, hey, if rates are going to go up, first of all, we're going to be trying to fix your rates, up front, right?
Yes.
So, hi, how are you? Absolutely.
There you go, right there.
There you go. You're
You're
welcome. No, but honestly, you cannot let an interest rate going up by 100, 200, 300 basis points. Yes, it's scary to think about that. Oh my gosh, my rate's going up. My payment's going to go up $50 or $100 a month.
Okay.
But your return, it's way too skinny at that particular point. So these are the types of investments we're trying to avoid. But as planning phase, don't let it prohibit planning by any means. Continue forward with your plans. Use a company like us. Use other companies that exist out there that help you with these things, because don't let rates scare you. Yeah, we're just not used to it, right? So it's scary, but
It is scary.
We're just not used to it, and I think that's why it's kind of like catches you off guard.
Okay.
But no,
So I know you don't have a
focus on it.
crystal ball.
Yes.
But pull one out anyways. How are the things that are happening in the economy and inflation? How are those going to affect things like ROI value relative to a store, maybe an acquisition of a store, or how is it going to affect? And I know you don't know the answer. I'm asking for your opinion. How is it going to affect us business owners? I agree, the percentage or two that's going to make or break your deal. Probably got something else bad in the
That's
deal
right.
somewhere.
That's right.
But there are bigger mitigating factors.
They
How,
froze
how
up.
can it?
No, jeez. Maybe. Before.
Hopefully we get back on and you can share it.
Gotta raise prices. I mean, that's what you gotta do.
Music to my ears.
Dude, this is super fun.